Emancipation. Was this movie a bounce back from the Oscar fiasco, or was it a flop? You be the judge. Cue the music. What's up YouTube, it's your man BT. I'm back with another movie review. I watched the movie Emancipation starring Will Smith and directed by Antoine Fuqua. It premiered December 9th, 2022. Some people are saying that this movie was Will Smith's attempt to bounce back after the Oscar fiasco, while other people are calling this movie Oscar worthy. Emancipation is the true story of Whipping Peter, which derived from an iconic photo of Whipping Peter, who was a slave who had got badly beaten, and his scars were used kind of like a sign of rebellion. This movie was set in 1863 at the height of Civil War, and it's a true story. I've seen this photo dozens of times, but I didn't realize that this movie was based on this photo until almost at the very end of the movie. Apple obtained the rights to this movie for 130 million. They outbid a bunch of other studios, and they got the rights to shoot the movie. And it was shot between July and August of 2021. Okay, so Peter was a rebellious slave, and he was actually going to be murdered by his slave catchers, but he fought them and he set out to escape through the Louisiana swamp. I started watching and I was immediately put off. I'll just say I was put off because the movie was filmed in black and white, and I was like, what is going on here? I didn't want to prejudge the movie itself, but I'll tell you right now, I'm not a fan of black and white. So to see this movie in, I would say it's not in total black and white, but it was as close to black and white as you could possibly get. I had to watch the movie a second time just to see little traces of color throughout the movie. Antoine Fuqua said he didn't want the movie to come off like a Hallmark movie, so he shot the movie in black and white, despite the fact that the movie had an R rating. Me personally, I'm not a fan of black and white. I'm a fan of color. So I thought that this movie missed the opportunity to expound on the fact that you're in the Louisiana swamp, and the dense swamp. So you got all of this color, all of these trees, all of this nature. So the idea of camouflage in that just kind of had me scratching my head for a while. Despite the color, this movie did tell a story that I wasn't aware of. I was aware of the photo, but I didn't know that there was actually a story behind it. So I will give credit to actually creating a story that kind of explains that photo, because you've seen this photo. It's actually been in history books. This photo's been all over the world. So to actually tie that into a story, I think that was an incredible move. Thought it was great. Now, the thing about shooting this type of movie in black and white and you're representing the Louisiana swamp is the fact that while Will Smith is running for his freedom, he's running from these slave catchers, and he's running through the swamp, but it looks like he's running through mud because it's all black and white. And speaking of this movie ran 2 hours and 12 minutes. I didn't think it was particularly long. Another thing about this movie, of course, it's a slave movie. A lot of people, especially on social media, they just say, I don't want to see another slave movie. I'm tired of slave movies. I'm tired of talking about slavery. Be it as it may, this movie evoked a lot of emotions that you can expect from a slave movie. You got love, you have loss, you have pain, you have violence, you have separation, you have despair, hopelessness, triumph, and eventually emancipation. So this movie did follow the traditional slave pattern, just like movies like 12 Years a Slave. The only difference is 12 Years a Slave was shot in color, and I could appreciate that movie just a little bit more than I could appreciate this movie being shot in black and white. One thing that kind of annoyed me about this movie were the references to it. I think that the director went out of his way to characterize the slaves as it. Of course, this is slavery, so it's not surprising that the slave owner doesn't think of the slave as being human, but to constantly just say it, then another slave owner come up and go, get it up and get it over here. You know, it was just unnecessary. I thought that was just like a unnecessary cliche that was added to the movie, but be it as it may. Now, Will Smith is a very, very graceful actor. I love Will Smith's movies. He went from a runaway slave, he ended up joining the army, he was a fighter, he was everything that you would have expected him to be in this movie, but he wasn't Peter. He was Will Smith with dirt and mud on his face. That's just how it felt. I'm not trashing this movie. Don't get it wrong, I'm not trashing this movie, but even it was one scene where he's marching with the rest of the soldiers. This is right toward the end of the movie. He's marching with the rest of the soldiers. And I said, there's Will with mud on his face. I don't know what it is about that black and white, but I think it should have served to enhance the effect of the movie, but I think it just kind of washed everything away. You know, I felt like he wasn't going through a Louisiana swamp, he was trekking through mud in the backyard. My thought is that it was shot in an unconventional manner because it somehow lacked some type of authenticity, or perhaps the environment that the movie was shot in was not up to par with a Louisiana swamp, or just didn't really give the director the effect that he wanted, so he used the black and white to camouflage. That was just my thought on it, but you know, you have to go see this movie for yourself to get your idea. I have my thoughts on it. Rotten Tomatoes was around 46% in this movie. Other reviewers were somewhere in the 90s, but of course those were the unranked people like me. You be the judge. So I'll tell you, this movie is out in select theaters right now, and it's streaming on Apple Plus. I want to thank you for watching this video on BT Bonner. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I invite you to subscribe to my channel, watch some more of my videos, watch some more of my movie reviews. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the ticket line. Peace.